Welcome back to Between the Levees. Please stick around at the end of this episode to hear a few verses from Chad Jenkins' new song, Downriver. It is available on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Music. Thank you very much. I am joined today on Between the Levees by Chance Savant, an inland marine pilot on the river and on the canal, formerly in the Coast Guard, who found me on the podcast Facebook page. Chance, thank you very much for joining me today.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Well, I know you said you've seen a couple of these. You know how they go. Where were you born, man?
The Blue Settlement. Um, you probably don't know. No one knows that. It's like outside of Lake Charles, Iowa area. It's nothing really to talk about. It's just the river. It's a swamp crap hole. So, but I mean, I love it. Yeah, I love everything about the area. But yeah, that's why I was born and raised.
Did you have siblings?
Yeah, I have one sister. She's about 3, 4 years older than me. Well, yeah, 4 years older. So,
What did your parents do for a living?
my mom, she was a general manager for a mobile home place, and so she did that, and then she moved to New Orleans. That's one of the reasons why I moved over here to Metairie or whatever. Um, she became a tantrika, a spiritual healer. So she moved to the quarter and started doing hipster spiritual crazy stuff. And then my father, I have no idea because my mom was a crazy spirit, you know what I mean? So it was like she's like, it's not important who your dad is. Like, all right, cool, whatever. So I had it like, I had a good childhood though, but but yeah, it was my mom was she's out there. She's a hippie.
Is she still doing that to this day?
Mm, no, she actually went back in the business world and she's like does roofs. She'll go and like give quotes for roofs. She's a advert type person for RLB roofing construction
Okay.
thing. She has
All
started
right.
that. So she's she's not rubbing people with crystals anymore.
Roger that. Well, what was life growing up outside Lake Charles?
Uh ooh, it was I mean, I guess you say your typical like out in the sticks type thing. We didn't have much to do besides like, hit mailboxes and shit like that. So we we just typical teenage years, get drunk in fields and like I said, go hit mailboxes and cow tip. Well, cow tipping really isn't a real thing. We tried it like a few times, but like anybody that says cow tipping is like a thing, they're full of shit because the cows wake up. But anyway, stuff like that.
Well, I've never tried it myself.
Yeah.
Anyway, so were you drawn to anything in school growing up at all, or was it more
Well,
causing trouble?
no, I was always into sports or whatever. So like growing up, I always wanted to be a sports journalist or whatever. Watch ESPN, see Stuart Scott and all those people on ESPN, and this was my ambition or whatever. Whenever I was like coming up, and I was like, oh, I just want to go to school, be a journalist, and you just compromise. Well, I mean that's the thing. I got out of college at McNeese. Like I didn't get out of college. Rita hit Hurricane Rita, so it sort of shut down the school, and like it was big. You know how that was. But I just joined the Coast Guard because I went to go find out how much like I'd be making once I got out of school, and they're like, oh, a whopping 24,000 a year. I was like, what? I was like, I could take out trash and make more money than that. So joined the military, Coast Guard, did that, like I said, for 5 years. And then I randomly, it was just, they sent out a message, get out, get out. I sold cars in Alabama for a little bit. Came over here, worked in New Orleans East to sell cars. Did that for like 2 years. And then I finally discovered my ex-wife's dad was worked for Kirby. And he's like, oh, why don't you do this whole deckhand thing. I was like, what? I didn't know about it because the Coast Guard, where I was stationed, we never dealt with riverboat type stuff. It's Alaska. I was in Alaska for most of my career. So I was like, oh, what are you talking about? So got on a towboat, and then they're like, just like most companies or whatever, they'll give you the rigmarole about like, oh, you'll be a deckhand for like 2 years and you'll be a captain. I don't care. It doesn't happen like that. You gotta spend your time, do your dirt work. And so I went to Kirby, and then I left there because it was sort of not getting anywhere. So I went to Turn, and then Turn Service is really good about making good captains or whatever. I can't say anything ill about them. They have top notch captains over there. They all train me, and Dion, Chad Leeper, uh, I'm actually dating his daughter now, Tommy Brew. They all trained me up and brought me up, and it's a good atmosphere over there when it comes to like training you and getting you ready to do your stuff. Because you at Turn Service, it's like a Swiss Army knife company. You got to do everything. Like you got to know the canal, you got to know the river, you got to fleet, you got a headline, you have to do all these things. So so once I did that, and I had to Turn Service started they started getting more fleet oriented, and I hate the fleet. I'm one of those guys like I just want my best option is just to get on a boat and you'll lock me away for 2 weeks or however long, because I'm very bad about it. If I'm home, I'm lazy. I don't want to do nothing. On a boat, I know I'm there. I'm just whatever. I don't want to sit there and drive to work, whatever. Um, when I'm home, I'm just relaxed, and I'd much rather the mentality of just like get it over with, like pull a band-aid off. Just send me out however many days, and then it is what it is. So they're more going to fleets and stuff like that, and then I was like, man, I want something new as well. Red flag thing. It's more I guess you say oriented. Red flag is your CDC type stuff. It's more obviously you're not headlining red flags. You're not doing all this stuff. You're not beating and banging the boat all day. So that's why it's a change of pace. Me and some other guys went to that company or whatever, the company I'm at, Magnolia or whatever. So it's been good so far. Like I said, it's like we enjoy it. So
Well, tell me about your, I guess, walk me through your Coast Guard career from enlisting to boot camp to your duty stations in Alaska. Tell me all about it.
oh well, got bailed out of jail the day before MEPS. So I had to tell my recruiter like after I like went through the whole MEPS thing, he's like, hey, about the whole clean record thing. Yeah, we got this stuff I got to deal with now. And so went to MEPS, did my thing, got stationed in Coast Guard Cutter Campbell in Portsmouth, and then went there. I've never left Louisiana really. I was just a podunk, not knowing anything, like kid. I got to see like go to boss and all this other stuff. Like so, went there for about 10 months. I just wanted to advance as fast as possible. So I went to A school. I went to Bosa A school, and then I got number one pick. I got to like pick wherever wanted to go, and I picked Kenai, Alaska, because I looked at fishing trips there, and it was like $4,000 for like a fishing trip. I was like, yeah, that's where I want to go. They moved me to Anchorage, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then went there. They made up a role for me, lead petty officer of law enforcement, because they didn't know what to do with me. But they actually made it into like a real job. Where, well, first when I showed up for like the first 2 months, it said, oh, just show up around 6:30, 7 o'clock at the gym, and then work out till like 11 or 12, and then they're like, hey, and then we'll see if we got something for you. And then so that got boring fast. And I told him, I was like, man, I pretty smart, I got academic award in the Coast Guard, like in boot camp, which isn't much. I mean, you just take tests better than everybody else. But so so they went and they started doing pollution investigator for me, and they started expanding my job. And then I said I did there 3 years. I wanted to do four, but there's like, dude, you have to, I'm 85, and they're like, dude, you have to get out and start doing other stuff. So I went to Mobile. I went to a buoy tender over there, and did not like the command or whatever. And it was a confrontational type thing. And then so they came out with a message like, if you want to get out, because the retention was really high, economy was shit, so everybody's staying in. And then they're like, well, we can't get rid. First, they try to kick the fat people out, and then there wasn't enough fat people, so they had to like go through other resources or whatever. So, like they told me, is like, well, they didn't tell me. They told the whole. They're like, hey, if you just want to get out, get out. I was like, it's probably the best option. I was like, cause I'm having a bad time right now. I went through my first divorce because like you gotta rack up your divorces, right? But so did my first one or whatever, and I got two under my belt now, waiting for number three. But but yeah, so I got out, and like I said, I started selling cars because I didn't know about this. And then like I said, I just got lucky with my second ex-wife, and then her dad's like, hey, why don't you try this out? I was like, all right, cool. So
How was car sales?
mm, car sales was awesome. Well, here in New Orleans East, it was awesome because like my second day on the job, a dude got stabbed in the throat with a pin, and I was like, "This is sign me up." So old Remus got stabbed right in the neck with a fucking pin, but I
That's
was
a
like, "What?" I
that's
was,
a hell of a start to a new career.
oh, well, I mean, that's the thing. It's in the East though, and then like it dude, it was crazy, and it was so like people think driving a boat stressful. No, go deal with these people that I've got threatened to get killed and all this other stuff. Like selling cars, that and you have to like actually every day you wake up, you have to like line up your day. You have to sell like a car a day to survive, and you have to make money on that car. So you have to sit there and you lie and not well, yeah, lie, manipulate, lie, do all this other stuff. And it's like, I mean, I hate saying that, but it's what you have to do. Because like I was told, what do you want to eat? Because you got to eat, so therefore you gotta do the tricks of the trade. You got to do the four corners. You got to do all these little tricks of the car business. And then, but I mean, at the end of the day, like, yeah, you feel like crap. You go home. I'm working 80 hours a week. So, I mean, because you can't legally work on Sundays here in Louisiana. In Alabama, like I was working 7 days a week. Every day I'd work. And you had to do it to survive. So car sales, like, yeah, I'd highly not recommend. I mean, some people are, I mean, my second ex-wife, her husband's a car manager or whatever. Most of my friends are doing it. Like, I respect the shit out of it. The grind is a different level grind. I've never grinded like that in the tow boating industry or anything like that. Everybody's like, "Oh, I was a deckhand. I built a 30 bars tow today and did this, did that." Go sell cars. It's a different kind of grind. It's a mental grind. Yeah, no. So, I mean, I'm very fortunate that I end up marrying some chick that had a guy connected to the towboat industry, and he's the one that sort of he didn't guide me at all. He just says, "Hey, go apply." He didn't outside of that he didn't really help me.
Walk me through that process. So you apply with Kirby, and how was deckhand training, onboarding? Tell me about your first time getting on a vessel, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, deckhand training at Kirby is phenomenal, actually. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, because you go like 2 weeks. It's like military. They go and you go in a little barracks type situation, and they go in 2 weeks. They actually you throw lines, you do all this. They teach you port, starboard, all this other stuff. Which I mean, since I was on the Coast Guard, I was like, I got all this. So I didn't have to pay attention like to 90% of it. But they actually, if you're a brand new deckhand, you go to Kirby, they do excellent training. It's they get you familiar with cavils and all this other stuff. So you do that for like 2 weeks, and then most of the time you immediately go to a boat. You immediately go to a boat, and that's the thing. They almost baby you to a little degree, but that's I feel like in our society today, that's the best bet. You got to baby these guys coming up because we're not we're not getting guys that like when I was a kid, you know, coming up, you got it on your own and all this other stuff. These kids like they came up on yeah, it's not a bad thing, video games and all this other stuff, which that's cool. It's like I came up on similar stuff, but it's the same stuff. They it's a different generation, as you know, it's a generational gap. And you got all these old school captains, like they'll talk even about my generation. Oh, they can't do this, they can't do that. Dude, it's not you know what I mean? It's like they'll everybody tries to put down the generation before them. And I feel like how Kirby has it set up or whatever, it's set up for safety wise and everything like that. I think it's the best setup you can possibly do because you go in there, you have great training. They have training wheels on you, and I feel like that's a good thing. I don't feel like you need to get it in the mud anymore. Like you need to slow it down. But also, most companies don't have the financial backing to just put a kid in school for 2 weeks. So, that's another thing.
Tell me about the first time stepping on a boat and where were you running?
Uh, First time sitting on a boat. Dude, these stories are so nuts. So I was at like people think the Coast Guard's like straight edge or whatever, but when I was on the Campbell, it was craziness. We had fist fights and all this crazy stuff, and it was so we go in to sit in the lounge. We had a fight to go have the right to go in the lounge. So it was nuts. So I got on center Stennis, and I had a crazy deckhand come with me. His name was the Albino Gorilla. He was he was in the little like apartments over because Kirby had like two sets of apartments over in Houston, and I had the code to because I guess I was privileged or whatever the steersman apartment because I went in there and Albino Gorilla was like screaming at the top of his lungs like ah! I was like what did I step into? I was like this seems awesome, but I was like I sort of want to go to sleep. So I went to sleep, and then just so happens that me and the Albino Gorilla are going on the same boat. So he asked me, we're on the plane and like the aisles in between us, and then he goes, think we ever landed on the moon? I was like, nah, bro, I don't think we did. He goes, you're my dog. It's like, what? And then so all of a sudden he's like screaming across the aisle, you know about Bohemian Grove, where all these rich people go, and like, so he's just nuts. And I'm like, okay, I'm digging this because like I was in shady stuff in the Coast Guard. I thought this was normal. We get to the boat. They had the captain padlock the fridge, which I mean, in the Coast Guard they locked up everything. Albino Gorilla got mad. He started all his like, dude, and so he just jumps off, but he flips off the whole crew or the captains, or whatever, jumps off the boat. I thought this was just a normal, hitch or whatever. And then the captain got on, and he's like, well, and he heard what everything happened, like the lead captain Frankie, and he's like, what? And then I found out that it's a lot more professional than what I'm used to or whatever. Because like I saw all this stuff, like, oh, I'm back in it's like Angola, I was like, let's go. And then but yeah, now I found out that it's actually a lot more professional than my first. Well, that's my first 2 weeks, and my second 2 weeks, 28-14 hitch. Frankie got on. It's like, no, we actually, keep everything civilized. We don't go flip up. We don't go and try to fight everybody. I was like, oh, albino gorilla is like a rarity. I was like, I thought I'd get that every day, which is sort of depressing because that was pretty fun. So
Well, where were you running on that first boat?
the Ohio and the Illinois River, so up north around Starved Rock Locks and all that. I mean, we very rarely went down. Like I was on there for I want to say 4 hitches or 5 hitches, and they sent me to tankerman school. And then I really didn't want to go at all. I didn't want to be a tankerman. And then they're like, well, we're gonna send you there. And I was like, okay, well, it is what it is. So I went there, and I was in a bad frame of mind. My first son passed away or whatever, so I didn't want to go to school at all at the time. But I wouldn't say I was forced or whatever. They gave me an option to not, and then I said, all right, I'll just get it over with. And it's sort of like I guess that's one of the main reasons why it wasn't anything to do with actual organization. It's like my frame of mind was bad. That's what sort of another reason why I left Kirby a good turn.
Tell me a little bit about running the Ohio and the Illinois. Anything interesting you remember from up there?
Uh, it I lived in Alaska, and then it's cold. we all know, like geographically, you can look at it and be like, oh, I bet that place is cold, right? But Ohio, Cincinnati, and shit, oh my God, that is brutal. Like it's, used to have pictures like they have icicles in my eyebrows. Just it's who would want to deck out there is ridiculous. I've been in crazy -30s or whatever, but something about 2 degrees in Cincinnati, Ohio with wind, no, that's for the birds. Because Alaska's dry. It's just, it is what it is. So I'd wear like a little denim white trash jacket every day. That's that's all I have to wear. In Ohio, oh no, you got to suit up. So this was funny. I see these kids out here and they're like, it'll get 50, 54 degrees. They're like, oh, they're suited up. They look like the little Christmas story kid. I was like, what are you doing, man? It's like, this isn't even that bad.
Any pleasant memories from that first few trips on the Ohio and the Illinois?
Oh, well, yeah, no, it was, but that's the thing. Is like, that was that one trip. And then after that, I realized it like, so almost depressing. Like, I was like, this isn't real life. Like this, like I was expecting this constant dramatic drama and people want to fight and jump off the boat and flip people off. I don't know. Albino Gorilla, when he got off though, he said he loved me. He's like, you're my bro. I was like, your bro, okay. Because you're crazy like me. I was like, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't think I'm that crazy, bro. It's like,
Yeah.
but Albino Gorilla, I wish I knew his real name. I give him a shout out, but I just know it's albino gorilla. I was somebody might see this like that's such and such.
Maybe we can get him on the show someday. Well,
Oh yeah.
tell me about the switch over to turn.
Switch over turn is basically like I said. It's around Christmas time, whatever. Switch over and like I looked up this company's hiring or whatever. I sent an application. They hired me in like 2 days, 3 days, and like they shotgun. Well, first I was supposed to be on a native dancer live on boat because like I said, hate working the fleets or whatever. And they after I got done with my hiring process or whatever, they send me orders and I'm going to the fleet. I was like, oh man, I was like, this is a terrible idea. I was like, I really don't want to do a fleet. And because like I said, I so programmed like Coast Guard and even like with the car business, you're never home. I just want to like in the Coast Guard, you go for like 3 months, you come home for like 2 weeks, to a month. But anyway, I was in the fleet and I did the fleet for uh 2 years, 3 years, whatever in Miro Fleet, and I got a lot of experience. So the thing is, turn service, like Kirby has a system set up where like brand new hires or whatever they get their experience, or whatever. But to be like elite or whatever, like a really good deckhand and like understand what's going, you need a company like Turn. They do everything. It is this that, and you have to that is getting it in the mud or whatever. And then so went to turn service. Then I got on the line haul boat or whatever, American Pharaoh. And then
And were you in the wheelhouse by then?
no, no. That's the thing is I went to school in the fleet, got my apprentice mate license or whatnot, and then went to Pharaoh and I had some captains over there that, well the lead captain over there explained that, we didn't get paid any extra to work line haul, which is it's questionable. But at the captain at the time on that boat said, "Well, here's how we're going to hook you up. We'll let you steer on watch, and we'll train you on watch or whatever, as long as you don't have anything extremely busy going on, because we had 3 deckhands per watch or whatever." And he goes, "We'll get you in the wheelhouse." Well, I was the only one that really took advantage of that, and so I was up there every day, like whether they wanted it or not. I was up there every day, and so I'd go up there, they jump out of the seat, I'd drive. I'm like, okay, I'll just so that's how I ended up getting an opportunity over there to get in a steersman type program. And then I said turn service, before they even get you in a steersman program, you're basically you have to be a steersman, because how they do it is you have your mate pilot and then they want you to only be in a program for a very limited amount of time. But your job is to go up there and drive. So that's the thing, is like, so you have to be almost ready before you even get in a program. So anyway, that's one good thing about Turn is the captains you train with over there, the old school captains, they do everything. So it's like they can headline, they can do any spectrum of the job. So that you train with the best of the, well, in my opinion, the best of the best. I don't know. They're probably gonna somebody will probably see this like, you know, screw you, we're the best. I was like, all right, whatever, dude. Yeah. So
Well, if there's anybody like that, hit up the show. We'll talk to you too. But
yeah.
was the Pharaoh on that Petcoke run from Tiger Fleet to the Grove at the time?
Oh, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So you know about that fun run, whereas
Well, I dispatched Tiger Fleet for about a year and a half when
mhm.
after ACBL acquired AEP.
Yeah,
But
we're on
anyway,
that
I think
and
I've
it
been.
stopped to Upper St.
That's
Rose and everything.
yeah. Well, tell me, I guess about getting up with the sticks for the first time. Anything interesting, surprising?
I mean that's one thing is like I, I mean I got trained with like legitimate cabinets, but they sort of stuck me with people who like, we don't give a shit, right? And then so I was a brand new cut loose, and then like I have a brand new cut loose guy as my pilot now. I'm lead captain on my boat. So they put me a brand new guy, and I never want to put him in a jam. So even if I think he has it or whatever, like, hey, call me. He does he does a good job. He'll call me on the phone. He's like, he has any questions, whatever. I don't care if I'm sleeping or whatever. I answer it, and then like, hey, and then I stay up late, and I show up early just to check on what's going on. Oh yeah, they didn't care. Like whenever I did it, like it's like it was high river. Uh, they I I remember I made a statement to the captains like, how do you get topped around in an eddy or whatever, and all this stuff that I was like inexperienced, is like talking out of my ass or whatever. Like within that first week, it happened to me, and like I just felt like, oh, all this shit. Yeah, I'm not really because you come to the realization or whatever that like, oh, I have nobody behind me. I gotta just figure this shit out. So, like in the first, like I said, the first year after behind the sticks or whatever, that's rough. And then you have a lot of Godsmacks or whatever. It's like humilizations or whatever. You get humbled a lot, and then right when you think, well, that's the thing is because anybody that has an incident like within the first year, like I always tell them that's good. It's good that you got to get out your way, right? Because I had my one or whatever knock on, it happened, but you got to get smacked down a little bit, yeah, and then you got to, because you get overconfident. I mean, I do. I mean, I did, or whatever. And then now I'm overconfident, but I realize like I'm just joking around. I'll just say like I'm best there is, best there was, best there ever will be. I'll Bret Hart it up, Ric Flair it, woo. But at the same time, you gotta respect the fact that it doesn't take much to mess up, but there's so many factors when you mess up. It takes multiple steps to mess up. People think that happens so fast, but if you break down any scenario, there's like five things that happen, and it's like, well, you didn't notice whenever this happened, and well, no, I mean it just happened so fast, like because you weren't paying attention, bro. But yeah, like I said, like right when you get broke loose, though, I would be like white knuckled, and I had the steering that it was like I'm trying to describe. Your shoulders would almost get shoved out of socket. It's it's not electric or whatever. I'm trying to like be basic with it or whatever. It's the Blackbeard. It's a fleet boat. It's the Admiral or whatever is the same way. It's like the steering on there. You have to shove your whole body weight to steer it, and because the captain that said that I was like ready said like, oh, I put them on a brand new boat at 2,000 horsepower, brand new boat, da da da. I got stuff. stuck on a triple screw, which I never drove. And so I didn't get thrown to the wolves or whatever. I mean, it, that's like I tell anybody coming up. Like, if they ask you, you're ready, you say yes. It doesn't matter if you feel like you're not, because you never know when that opportunity is going to come again. So just say yes, and it's throw yourself out there.
You want to talk about that first incident you had?
Mm. So basically, I was feeling myself. I was like, all right, I can do anything with a boat. I'm Michael Chance Savant. Like, I'm a bad MFer, all this stuff. I was just, and then the captain that was on the other watch, he would always talk about rigging not being on the boat and this or that. I looked down, I didn't have rigging. I was like, oh, well, I'll go walking in. Armont Fleet changed the wash dock up. And then I was like, okay, well, I feel like they wouldn't make it where it's not enough room to walk a boat in, right? Because why would they do that? And so I was sitting there, I was like lining up. It's high river. I was like trying to like settle the boat in or whatever. I was like, I'll walk the boat, which walk the boat sideways. I don't know, but move your flanking rudders over, steer out, all this other stuff. But so I'm like doing all this procedure. I'm only cut loose like 2 months, 3 months, whatever. And then I felt like I had it, and then right when I thought about it, I was like, I don't have enough room. I want to steer out. So when I steered out, stern of the boat clipped by like maybe a foot. It clipped the empties or whatever of the wash dock. So when it clipped the empties of the wash dock, the whole boat, I went from like going out like this, and it clipped, and the momentum just went boom, and then slammed the boat sideways on top of empties. I saw a rake, which um, I didn't want to get under, obviously, so I goosed it, and then I landed, you know, 2 bars in, 3 bars in, or whatnot, and then the other captain woke up, and he woke up with like the way I landed it, the rake was in his window. But I landed it with it's hard to explain, but I landed it with forward bumper and this rear bumper or whatever touching. The rake was further back, but he just saw, he woke up and he saw a rake, and he was like, "What the hell?" And I was like, shit happens." So he came up, another boat came, and they got me out or whatnot. But yeah, I did that one, and then like I said, after that, um, I mean, they have stressful things happen every day. I mean, but as long as you just keep your cool, which I mean, that's what the hard part of the industry right now is. Um, you have all these people that's so much pressure from the higher ups, and they're in the office and they're in the safety of all this, but they put so much pressure on the captains or whatnot, and then my thing is like, dude, just don't get stressed, like just because that's when you mess up. Is it you're when you're stressed out? Me, I quit. Like I told the new guy I'm with, I was like, the moment you realize that um you just don't care anymore, or it's not that don't care. You have to care obviously about your job, but whenever you get to the confidence level where it's like that stress, you can zone it out. You'll never be a better captain or whatever. It's with any job though. Well, stress is the number one enemy. So we have stress from the office to go do this, and to me is like nothing in life is really that important to like get stressed out about. Like it's not. It's like me, I don't get stressed. Like it is what it is.
How long were you on that Petcoke run?
I was made on that boat for like 2 years. Yeah, 2 years. So I was over there for like 2 years doing the pet coke thing, and I'm sure you know how nasty that is. Like you just come in and you have I don't want to get canceled. You have blackface. But anyway, you're just completely covered, and you got it in your nose. You take like 5 showers and you still got black stuff coming out of your ear. And but it was fun because we had a good crew. And that's the thing, is like the main thing is this whole job is like if you just go in and know that, I think my number one job is not driving the boat or whatever. It's like entertainment, crew morale. Because like once crew morale goes out the window, you're screwed. It's just like everybody's all down and out. I hate that. You get on a boat and everybody's just like negative. I hate negative energy. I always try to stay positive. Um, but that's the thing is you get on some of these boats, and definitely whenever I was a younger pilot coming up, you get on these boats and like everybody's energy is just sucked out, and they're sucked out, and they will not want to work. They don't want to work for you. I'd much rather somebody want to work for me out of their pride than out of fear. I want somebody to not sit there and be like, oh, well, you feel like you have to do it. No, I want somebody to be like, oh, I don't want to let them down. But we don't have that anymore. We have so much fear-based leadership. It's crazy. And it's like everybody's like flipping out about anything. And in I really don't know what it is, because I mean, like I think I've commented on the Ingram thing or whatever. The Ingram's paying. We're so short with Willman. They're paying like $5,000, and they have good wages. I'm happy where I'm at or whatever. But it's crazy to think that we're so short-handed that the highest paying company has to pay $5,000 additionally on top of that to get people. And I'm happy where I'm at, like I said. But my thing is like, so we're making captains left and right, and I think we're making a lot of people that like leadership level aren't there. Like driving a boat to me is easier than leadership. We don't have leadership in a lot of these positions these days, from upper management down to us, or down to even deckhands. Deckhands, oh, I don't want to train this guy. That's sort of your job, bro. You know. But I don't know. It's just it's fascinating to look at how the industry is so shorthanded right now. But I don't think management even realizes how shorthanded it is, because they are so quick to get rid of certain people. And so it's like over, I wouldn't say anything's a minor infraction or whatever, but it's just, and then captains don't realize like the deckhands they're trying to run off, they're not even that bad, but they're trying to run them off. Who do you think's going to replace them? Domino's delivery guy. He just Domino's delivery last week. That's who's going to replace the guy you just ran off. That has like 5 years experience, and then just because he didn't clean the toilet right, like you're not getting top notch people. I mean, it's not going to happen. You're not. It's not. You're. It's not trading baseball cards, bro.
Right. Well, um, how did your career with Turn develop, and then what prompted the jump to Magnolia?
It developed great. I mean, I liked it. Like I said, it's just turn was going in a different route, as in like they were going more fleet based or whatever. They're selling some of their assets or boats or whatnot, and have no qualms with them or anything like that. It's just they're going one way. I saw it, and I probably could have left on a better note, because my 2 week notice was like I just changed my status on Facebook to Magnolia Captain, and then I was like, and then my port captain, so I was like, what's this? I was like, 2 weeks. Could have did a better job on that one. But it was just, it felt stagnant, and what I wanted to do is, I wouldn't say it's a boring job. It's just not, the jobs that were coming up weren't something I want to do. I was doing it. Me and another captain that left or whatever, he didn't leave for that exact reason, but Drew, like good captains, whatever, we worked together for a little bit, and I was like, man, just going to Port of New Iberia, stuff like this, that wasn't, because it was this, the live on boats are all the same jobs. There's no changing up of anything. And then I don't know what their the ultimate goal is with the company or whatever. I don't know if they're trying to expand later on. I really don't know. Sort of left in the dark about a lot of which, I mean, you should leave employees in the dark. And this, like mushrooms, feed them shit, let them grow. But so they were, not telling us what we really needed to hear or whatever. So I was like, all right, well, we went to Magnolia, and me, Drew, and another guy. He was at Marquette, and then he used to be our deckhand, and he's a captain. Um, Gage or whatever. We all went to Magnolia, and we felt appreciated, um, which caused conflict. I posted something where they put a article out about me, like this little trip I did, and causes conflict with other captains or whatever. I posted, I was like, "Oh, I get appreciated over here." Didn't mean it in any ill will, but it turned into a complete shit show. So I had to like get in arguments with the other captains. So I can highly say that I'm probably not liked over there that much, but it is what I mean. I didn't mean it like that. And then I appreciate the company. I appreciate everything they do. I appreciate the individuals that work over there. I have nothing ill to say about any of that.
Well, when did you get posted on the canal? And did you tell me you went all the way to Corpus?
Uh, no. I mean, I haven't been to Corpus in whew, like 4 years, so I can't really like confidently say that um I've been to Corpus. Like I mean I've been there, but like once or twice. So, but I mainly posted Houston. Houston's my playground now. Like I mainly hang out there, and then go to New Orleans, and like I said to Baton Rouge. I don't have anything above Tiger. I mean, wish I could have all these cool stories above that, but I don't. The Loop, and that's the thing is like most people want to get posted in a lot of places or whatever. I was like, and at the same level that yeah, experience is nice or whatever, but you got to think about it. You get posted all these places. I'd much rather just be an expert at what I do. Like put me in Houston or whatever. I've been here that long. I appreciate. Was it Bruce Lee that said that teach a man to? Oh man, how do you say it? But it's like if you expand your knowledge or whatever, you're not being a master of one thing or whatever. I'm not saying I want to be a master of anything. I'm just comfortable where I run or whatever, and I'll go to Corpus. I really don't care because that's also a unique thing about Turn. We really didn't have like a hardcore posting system. They would just be like, hey, because when I got cut loose, posted in the canal, you mentioned that. I think I find it funny because that's what I bring up to like the people I train now. Like, if you know how to drive a boat, you can make it anywhere. It really doesn't matter. You're posting or whatever. I mean, obviously, some places are more stringent than other, and a lot of captains will disagree all day with that. They're like, oh well, no, you got to get posted, and because they point you in a direction, like turn. And so when I got cut loose, I took one barge, which is a 200 by 35. The only time I was ever in the canal and drove in the canal. Well, there's two times I've been in the canal. One's Port Allen route, one time, and then another time they put one regulation barge on me, and I drove to Pouchon. And so when I got cut loose, I didn't know what was after LaRose. I didn't know if it was Morgan City or Homa because like I'm too stupid to even look at a map. And I'm just like, oh well, whatever. So I just winged it or whatever. So I winged it and got in the canal, and I never seen Sugar House Bend. I never saw any of this stuff, and I'm just like, okay, I'm just winging it. But with the experience level I had, I mean, as a deckhand, like I said, I drove with another captain or whatever in the canal, Chad, and he taught me a lot. So I mean, I just remember from like years ago, I was like, oh well, drive or die, and all these things he taught me. But if you just know how to drive a boat, the posting thing, which I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't want to say posting isn't necessary because the safety protocols or whatever, everything's written in blood. So people have screwed up to where we have to get posted now or whatever. People have jacked up, so things are written in blood. People have came out of like sand jack and T-boned of ship. So obviously you need to get posted. You need to learn your area or whatnot. But it is a thing that's integral about. I'm not integral, but unique about turn is this: they train captains so well, or whatever. Well, the people that they have over there build the confidence, because I mean, they, like I said, some of the people can get on the podcast and argue with me, but turn service has the best captains, and the people you train under are top notch. So you know, never have fear of uh messing up, because you think you have that in your data bank. You think that you can get out of any situation.
Do you have a favorite run? I mean, I know you said you enjoy what you're doing now, but is there anything, any scenery, anything surprising or that you wanted to go see again?
Uh, that I mean, the Mobile run, like, there's nothing like there. It's just wide open. So that's fascinating. You know, it's just to have the freedom, because most of the time you're in a confined, you know, restricted by your draft or whatever. I mean, you can't just like do whatever. Um, so that I mean, that's always fun to go to. I've only been there once, but it's one of those things like, can you go there? I'm like, yeah. I mean, it's Mobile, bro. Like, it's wide open.
Well,
Anyway.
tell me about your family. I know you said uh, two wives down and a girlfriend now. Do you have any children?
Oh yeah, no, I have a 6-year-old son, and that's why I don't work over. And I respect people that work over. Is, dude, it's not that's why you ultimately want to be a captain, or, you know, get in a position where you work less or whatever, to spend more time with them. And then, like, when I'm at home with him, that's all I care about, really. I mean, he had a little workout day today. That's why I was able to do this, and so my girlfriend's able to pick him up. So, but yeah, no, he's 6. He has no, and I wouldn't push him to do this, because we have no inclination like what's going to happen with the towboating industry, because the green thing's starting to come out, and people like green energy and all this other stuff. I don't know if this industry's, it has to be around, but because no matter what, everything needs transportation, right? But no, he just wants to be an astronaut, which I tell him all the time. We've never been to the moon. He likes to argue with me about it, but, you know, kids don't know shit these days. We've never been on the moon. So, but no, he's a good kid though. He's gets good grades, and like, that's the only thing I really look forward to. Like, I think, get on the boat, do my job, and just want to hurry up and get home to see him.
Well, good for you, man. I think that'll just about do it for the questions. You have anything else you'd like to share about the industry or anything?
No, no, no. Industry right now, like I said, it's a weird time for the industry, just because, like, they have these, everybody is coming up, and the shorthandedness or whatever. The negativity is definitely out there. It's everybody just, they still feel like they need to protect their neck, and then talk trash about other people or whatnot. And then it's like, dude, there's no brotherhood, which is unfortunate, because I feel like if we all came together, and if we protected each other and had each other's back or whatever, this job would be a lot easier. But I feel like a lot of people come into it just feeling like they have to protect themselves, or they have to protect their reputation or whatever. Like, I don't care what people think of me. Like, I really don't. And then, like I said, I got my 6-year-old. That's the only person I care about at the end of the day. So, but as a whole, is and that's the thing, is it comes from upper management all the way down. Deckhands feel like they have to sell out this person. Captains feel like they have to sell out deckhands. And at the end of the day, everybody's just trying to make a paycheck. And that's what's crazy, is like, no, there's no we're not band of brothers anymore. It used to, from what I understand, it used to be like that. I don't know. Maybe it was before my time, but ever since I came in the industry, it always seemed like cutthroat, sell people out. But I mean, the people I know or whatever, I mean, like I said, there's a group of like 4 or 5 of us that we always have our back, and we always call each other with advice or whatever we need. You know, me, you know, I don't know if they want to say their names, or Drew Lugo and stuff like that. We always we always call each other up, and we never had anything ill will to say about each other. But it's just crazy to me that the amount of, like, I don't know what it is. Like, I wish I could magic wand it away, but it is what it is. You know, people just out to protect themselves, and it's unfortunate. It really is. I mean, but at the same time that there's some great people out there that like sort of guide you along the, the path. And then at the end of the day, that's all I want to know, or that's all I really want. In the day, is like when I put my head on the pillow or whatever, did I help somebody else succeed or whatever? I want to see deckhands in the wheelhouse. I want to see um anything. I want everybody to succeed. Whatever. I want to put the carrot on the fucking string and like dangle it in front of people. Like, hey, you can be this. You can be a tankerman. Like, go get your sign offs. Go do this. Go do that. But I mean, I'm not saying like I'm a great person or whatever. I feel like this is a trait that everybody should have. But I really don't see that much or whatever, and people are just trying to like cut people short or whatever. That's the only problem in the industry, I guess, right now. I mean, is just the fact that we're not watching out for each other at all. Like there's no band of brothers. There's no, hey, I'll take a bullet for you. There's none of that. I mean, I have my collection of friends that we do that with, Tyler Bork, and I got buddies at Florida Marine, all these other companies. It's like I want to see everybody succeed, but it's everybody just tries to shoot you down so much, and it was crazy. It's like I don't know. I think it'll eventually change. Like I said, whenever this old school system gets sort of like goes away or whatever. Can I say old school system? Most people are like, oh, I was trained by old school guys. Like, who cares, bro? Like, and that's why they relate to them being an asshole. It's like, don't say you're an asshole. Go, oh, I was taught to be an asshole. No, you're an asshole, and then somebody just told you to keep doing it. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, that's all. I wouldn't say it's a gripe. Oh, that's my first ex-wife, or no, second ex-wife. Call me.
If you need to go tend to that, man, we can call it a day.
Okay, I appreciate it.
I appreciate your time, bud.
They say I'm always gone, on the road, never home. I say I'm trying to get this money, so I gotta stay gone. I tell my mama that I love her, even though I do wrong. And I've been praying to the Lord, I just gotta stay strong.